2 weeks ago, the hottest quantum computing stock on earth fell 25%. There was no failed experiment, no scandal, no bad news, no guy in handcuffs. A guy just looked at it the way that you look at a used car, with the hood up, and he said, yeah, I'm good. And anyone who bought the top is down $17.85 a share on a machine that works exactly as well as it did the week before. So buried in that crash is the secret to this whole quantum industry. The machine doesn't have to work. The spending already does. You see, governments, US, China, Europe, are writing billion-dollar checks today. Banks are changing every digital lock they own today. And there's 6 companies that I've identified that collect the money, whether this miracle quantum machine ever arrives or not. They get paid either way. So here's the plan. I'll show you why the hottest stock in quantum crashed on zero bad news. So you know why. Who's already collecting quantum money before the machine even exists, and the 6 companies that get paid either way, what they do, and where to get every name and price. This is capital mischief. And the most expensive information in the world is the kind you get too late. The second most expensive is the kind everybody else has and is talking about on CNBC. My whole job is getting you the third kind. This YouTube channel is completely free, so subscribe. But the engine behind it is my Substack. Here's how it works. Fridays are free. I interview centimillionaire members of R360, the private club that I founded, for people worth at least 100 million, and their average is 600 million today. Saturdays are free too. The Mischief Library. I read more than 100 books a year, so you don't have to. Then the heavy hitters, Monday and Wednesday. Mondays are the markets and money, how to make money. Wednesdays are the bigger picture, geopolitics, money machines, and a lot of politics globally. Those posts are free right up to the moment the thinking becomes actionable. The names, the sizing, the exact entry points where I'm buying. That's the side members pay for. And it's not a paywall on ideas. It's a paywall on decisions, a threshold. Why pay it all? Because I spend $100,000 a year from my family office on research and filter 80 hours a week of reading so you don't have to. You're not subscribing to a newsletter. You're getting the filter. And if you're wondering whether the filter works, here's the last receipt, okay? I gave my readers an article of if Ayn Rand, who died in 1982, came back to life, and she was using the story Atlas Shrugged, which is one of the greatest books ever written, according to the New York Times after the Bible, what is the one investment that she would make based on her philosophy? Just one, and there was a specific reason why to buy last Wednesday at 7:30 in the morning when the Substack was published. Okay, that one investment was Bitcoin at 64,000. And in less than 5 days, it went to 81,000, a 27% gain. One reader bought half a Bitcoin and then wrote to thank me. That one gain, he said, covered his Capital Mischief subscription for 10 years. Okay, that's the receipt. So now let's go back. First, the quantum crash, because it teaches the whole lesson. Quantum computers are machines, essentially, that could someday crack unbelievable problems. How to cure cancer that regular computers never could. Could someday. Hold on to those words. You see, the company is called Quantinum. It may own one of the best quantum machines on the planet. Now, that wasn't the problem. The problem was the price tag. Investors valued this company at almost $19 billion, And this year, it expects to sell about 30 million of stuff. So let me put that in like lemonade stand terms. That's like paying $627,000 for a frickin' lemonade stand, okay? That sells $1,000 of lemonade a year. Nobody pays that for lemonade. They pay it for the story. And a price built on a story doesn't need bad news to fall. It just needs a slow afternoon and one person with a calculator. And on August 12th, the stock market closed that stock at 71.74. 13 days later, down 25%. Nothing changed. The machine was fine. The bet on the machine wasn't. Now, before you laugh at the people who bought at the top, let's be honest. Every generation buys a story like this. You bought the dot-coms. You bought the Doge M stocks. AI, okay? Every one of those generations looked at one before them and said, we're smarter than those damn idiots. That sentence, folks, is the ticket because the story changes. The mistake doesn't. So I wrote down a smarter way to play this for my Substack readers, okay? All 6 names, the exact prices that I'm paying for them, the links in the description. Now watch how the smart money handles a miracle. Every technology revolution runs 2 payrolls. The payroll that gets remembered and the payroll that gets paid. Here's what I mean. The railroads in the late 1800s made America, but most of them went bankrupt. Check it out. But the steel mills that sold them the track, they got paid either way. That's where the money was. And the dot-com boom, dot-coms died by the thousands. And the companies that laid the internet cable, they got paid either way. And today, every AI lab on earth is burning billions chasing smarter machines. But NVIDIA sells the chips they have to buy. I recommended NVIDIA 4 times in the Night Owl to my R360 members. They've made 20x. Why? Because the most valuable company in the world is basically selling shovels like steel for the railroads. Since we're talking about NVIDIA, they reported last night. I'm taping this yesterday, and I put in my Substack a number that no one's really watching, and it's really the forecast, okay? NVIDIA is predicting the quarter ahead. The forecast is about 104 billion. Mine was written down first is 107 to 110 billion. Check it out. Was I right? Was I wrong? Quantum is the same movie. It's just earlier. Everyone's watching the machines, okay? The easy money is standing next to them holding the invoice. And the first real quantum paycheck has already cleared, okay? A quantum machine runs inside Japan's biggest phone network right now, not doing miracles, doing one boring job, managing the network, signals on a real contract. That's what early quantum money looks like. Boring, real, paid. That's the first quantum job, folks. The first powerful machine in physics. And it's basically, its first gig is making sure your call doesn't drop. That's genius. It's not real quantum yet, but it's close and it's working like through a drive-through. Now, maybe you think quantum money is imaginary until a machine works. Washington disagrees. China disagrees. This summer, the White House signed 2 executive orders on quantum just recently. And the Commerce Department just last week signed letters of intent. These are written promises of funding, about $2 billion worth. IBM gets the biggest chunk, $1 billion. A chip factory gets $375 million, and 6 more companies get $100 million each. Now, look at what Washington just admitted. It bought one of everything. That's not a strategy. That is a confession. It doesn't know what it's doing. Even the government has no idea which machine wins. So I stop betting on the machines and I start paying the builders. What about China? China already has 10,000 kilometers of a quantum network, okay? This stopped being optional spending. It's not. It's an arms race. The military is in it. The builders cash those checks, whether the machine works or not. And here's the part almost nobody is watching. The biggest quantum spending isn't about building the machine. It's about defending against it. So follow me, because it sounds like science fiction and it's not. Thieves can steal scrambled data today. Your bank records, government secrets, health records, medical files, Bitcoin, and just keep it, okay? Waiting for the machine that unscrambles it. The burglary happens now, okay? The lock fails later. So think about what actually is happening. A guy robs your house. He takes your safe. He keeps the safe in his garage for 10 years, waiting for somebody to invent the key. That's a patient criminal, folks. But think about it. Imagine if 10 years ago, when Bitcoin was $800 and they have thousands of it that would be worth almost 80 million today, and they wait 10 years and all of a sudden they have the key to get your private keys. So that's why the government has ordered every federal agency to start changing its digital locks. Now, there's a published schedule. It runs to 2035, and the Treasury Department just started moving Wall Street onto the same clock. So think about it. Billions of dollars spent defending against a machine that doesn't even exist yet, but the threat is uncertain. The spending's on a calendar, and the locksmith gets paid either way. So what do I do with all of this? I want to make money. I can't tell you which quantum machine wins. Nobody can, all right? Not the physicists, not Washington, not China. They bought one of everything. What do they know? But here's the trick. I don't need to know. My filter is one sentence. Skip the profits. Own the plumbers. And I know plumbers, it's not sexy. Nobody at the dinner party is going, hey, I'm heavy into vacuum gear. You say that and the table goes quiet. You say quantum, somebody's wife leans in. That lean, folks, is what cost $19 billion. Here they are, the plumbers, all six of them. Each one owns a choke point, something every quantum lab needs, no matter whose machine wins. The names and my exact entry points are on my Substack, link below, or scan the QR code on your screen. But I'll walk you through the 6 jobs they own, okay? Because the jobs are my strategy. Job 1, the factory. Somebody manufactures the specialized chips and the parts for several competing designs. And the factory sells to every army in the war. And the one I'd buy first already runs a real chip business with billion in sales today. Quantum is the bonus, not the bet. Job 2, the test bench. Every quantum machine has to prove that it works on somebody's equipment. That somebody gets paid on every claim. Job 3, the refrigerators. I love this one. Quantum chips only work at temperatures colder than outer space. Think about that. Somebody builds the freezers. Days ago, IBM announced, a quantum breakthrough. And the star of the entire announcement was the refrigerator. Job 4, the inspector. Somebody tests the chips and finds the broken ones before they ship. Job 5, the boring parts, lasers, vacuum gear, the stuff nobody brags about, but everybody buys. Job 6, the light, specialized lasers and optics, the wiring of the quantum world. 6 jobs, 6 companies, paid. no matter whose machine wins. And notice what's not on this list. Not one company that actually builds a quantum computer. And that's on purpose. And I want most of the upside without the possibility of zero. Now, how I sized it, 3 names carry 75% of my money, and I chose those 3 for one reason. Each one already sells to other industries, quantum or no quantum, chips, test equipment, refrigerators for research labs. They take the money now, no matter what. All right. Those are the names, the exact price I pay for each, because some are very expensive, and the weights and my exit rule. They're all on my Substack. Link below or use the QR code on your screen. Every number in this video is there too. Now, let me argue against my own plan. These 6 are real businesses, but they are not cheap. Some trade at 70 plus times their yearly profit. That's a lot of hope already baked into a price. And if quantum stalls for a decade, the quantum bonus of buying them for whatever may never show up. So here's my protection. Every one of these companies sells to the other industries too. Semiconductors, AI, aerospace, and if quantum never pays them $1, they keep living. That's the whole point of the plan. And I wrote my exit rule down in advance, okay? If the quantum orders go flat for 2 straight quarters, I'm out. No matter what anybody announces about some miracle machine. And remember the lemonade stand we talked about earlier. If this whole sector cools off, even the good names get dragged down. Buy prices, not stories. The prophets will keep announcing the machine. Let them. I don't know which machine wins. I told you that. And I don't know if any machine wins. I just showed you why that doesn't matter. The checks are already written. The locks are already changing. The plumbers get paid either way. There's one thing I haven't shown you, the bill, because somebody has to pay the profits. Somebody has to pay the plumbers. And when I followed the money to see who was actually paying both, shit, I found something that I wasn't looking for.